Alright, welcome back. In this video we're going to be talking about how to get started with drawing or designing our pocket park. Just to review, our setting is it's going to be set in a city, okay, near an elementary school in an abandoned corner lot that's 50 by 50, so a square, and it's going to back up to 2 buildings. So we're going to have buildings in the back on both sides. Again, don't forget to think about things like water features, walking paths, sitting area, definitely some vegetation, and possibly play equipment. You don't have to put all of those things in there, but maybe a few of them. Here's our diagram again. Again, we have our building here and here with access to the park here and over here on the sidewalk. Okay, so when we're measuring out our park to draw it on a piece of paper, we have to draw a square on a piece of paper, but we want it to be the same size each time because you're going to be drawing 3 designs and you want each of the 3 designs to be the same scale. Okay, so we're going to have on graph paper, let's start with that one. You can measure over or count over 25 spaces by 25 spaces. So across 25 spaces, down 25 spaces, then back over and up, okay, to make your square. Or if you're doing it on a white sheet of paper, you're going to want to measure with your ruler 6 1/4 inches by 6 1/4 inches. On the ruler itself, if you look over here at our diagram of inches, we have 5 to 6. The 1/4 inch is in between the 5 and 5 1/2, so right in there. Okay, so with your ruler you would measure over to 6 and then over to the 1/4 inch and then down, back and across to make your square. Here's what it's going to look like. Okay, simple drawing of a square. I've labeled where the buildings are. You want to do that, and you want to give it some dimensions. So this represents 50 feet, even though it's only 6 1/4 inches on paper. In real space, in real life, it represents 50 feet worth of space by 50 feet worth of space. And you want to draw that in there so if somebody's looking at it, they understand the scale. So I also want to put in my sidewalks. So I'm going to label where the sidewalks are going to go, here and here, so I remember where my access points are and where the buildings are so that I don't draw like a sidewalk to nowhere or a sidewalk that runs into a building. Okay, here's some examples of a few things you might put in there, and notice I've just freehanded it. These are just designs. So you draw a swing set, a bench, something like that. But I want you to pay attention to the fact that we're drawing it as if we're looking at it from up top, like a bird's eye view. If you were like flying over it in a plane, this is what you would be seeing. So when you're on ground level, you look at it, like it's like we normally see things. But in a diagram like this, we want to draw it as if we're up top. Maybe you can think about being on top of the building and looking down. What is that swing set going to look like? Really, you're only going to see the seats here. You probably won't even see the chains because they're going to be covered up by the pole that goes across. Okay? The bench is probably just going to be a square or a rectangle. Okay? And think about your space. If I marked off here every 10 feet, I made little marks. Okay? So that's going to be every 5 squares on your graph paper, or 1 1/4 inch if you're just on a regular piece of paper. So that represents 10 feet. So this bench is about 10 feet across. If I think it's probably about the same size as from here to here. So that's a fairly long, good sized bench. Okay. So think about your space. You don't want to draw things too big, but you also don't want to draw things too small. Okay. So think about the scale of what you're drawing. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll come back to the next video on adding annotations.